I got invited to the Scramble Knights Royale, which is the game you see here. They're doing a playtest, and I thought I'd make a video about it because I think this game is going to flop, and I kind of don't want it to flop. Now, as the name implies with Scramble Knights Royale, it's a battle royale game, which I know some people are already kind of burnt out and sick of, but it does have a really unique art style. And they've put in the marketing and everyone's talking about, Legend of Zelda, it looks like the Legend of Zelda. And yeah, it looks like the Legend of Zelda, the enemies are inspired by Legend of Zelda, it very much has that feel of that old school Legend of Zelda remake. So why do I think it's gonna flop? Well, the game is really heavily marketing on, hey, the art style is really unique, which is good, but that's not enough to make the game, playable, something special. You can't just rely on the art style. And I have to point out that the game is in early access. This is like a play test with a limited player pool, so all this is subject to change, and it is possible they will change some of these things, and it might not be in that condition when it launches, but as of right now, here are my concerns. Number 1. As a online-only game that you have to face other people against, it lives or dies based on other people playing the game. And when I joined up, it took between 3 and 10 minutes to find a match, and those matches weren't even completely filled. It was usually between 15 and 20 people. I believe it's a 32-person player, so about half a match, and it still took 10 minutes to find those people. That's a huge concern. Number 2 of that concerns, and this one doesn't directly impact me, but I know it's going to concern some people, is they're launching with solo-only mode. They do have some plans to implement duos and trios, but for people with friends who like to play together, the inability to play this game with other people at launch might be a death sentence, right? Convincing a bunch of people to get into a game and play it together, and then saying, well, we can't actually play together for another 6 months or whatever it may be, that can be really damaging to the game. I don't know if it's going to be a free-to-play game or not. There already is a premium currency I can see in the regular menus, so I know that they're going to do some sort of freemium probably, but if the game has a cost on top of that, not having duos and trios and having a long time to get into a match just means less and less people are going to join, and it might be one of those dead on arrival sort of things. The next part that I want to talk about is the map size, and this is kind of a hard one for me to put as a negative, so I'm going to put it in a maybe a negative because it's a negative for me, but it's not a negative for everyone, and that is the map size is absolutely bonkers huge. Like, imagine trying to walk across the Morrowind map. Like, that's how large I feel the map is. So it is a very large map, and it's made larger by, there's a ton of nooks and crannies. You can find hidden holes in the ground to jump in. You can find dungeons with NPCs and little puzzles and things like that. So the map feels really, really huge. But when you only have 20 people on the map, if that, it feels like you're so isolated from everyone else and there's going to be no threats for 10 or 20 minutes. And that just feels like way too long before you have to experience any difficulty or threats. For the most part, all the NPCs and the PvE is zero threat to you. And there are some quests to pick up like that one, slay some slime, so I appreciate that there are some other things to do, but I don't want to just sit there and hit non-threat bots for 20 minutes before I have a chance to fight other people. I'm playing a PvP game to fight other people. So let's talk about the fighting other people a little bit here. There are a few different weapons. You can get a regular sword, a large sword or a great sword, a double-bladed sword, a bow and arrow, which you saw I had a little bit earlier there, and some daggers, and a spear. So there is a little bit of weapon variety. However, from what I've seen from the playtest so far, basically everyone uses the spear because it seems to be overpowered. Which, again, this is early access, this is a playtest, so those sort of things can be changed. But the combat seems very, very basic. Like, there are a few different kinds of way of swinging, like a power attack or a regular attack. There's some spammy attacks. And then you get one item. You can say I have an ice wand attached to my hip here. You get one item that can kind of change the way you're doing combat. You can have like a flute that summons enemies to fight with you. You can grab the ice wand to freeze people in place. You can grab things like a grappling hook to grapple onto the objects or onto people and get closer to them. So there are some things that shake it up, but in my experience, the combat just kind of feels bland. Like, there's just not a whole lot to it, and it feels like the spear is overpowered, not because it does more damage, because you can just spam it really fast, and it feels like there's not a whole lot of skill involved. It's just spam this attack as quickly as possible, and whoever hits first is the winner. And I don't like that feeling in a battle royale, right? When you're playing other games like Fortnite or Call of Duty or Battlefield, like there's a huge variety of weapons and guns you can get to your playstyle, but you don't always get your weapon, right? Sometimes you gotta make do with other weapons, and that's where like skill and ability comes in to trap people or to sabotage them, to sneak up on them, or to just flat out outplay them. So here's one of the dungeons you can get into that has like a little bit of loot, and you can see like it's tempting you right there, like, hey, there's something right here, there's some big gems, so you got to figure out the puzzle. And here's the puzzle of the dungeon. So you got to crawl up to the left here, and then you've got to swim around this pit, and then boom, you've solved the dungeon. Congratulations. Like, it's not much of a puzzle, but it does exist. This guy I thought was a player at first, so that was just acting really weird, but it turns out that they're an NPC, so you can kind of see like where the AI is at with players currently. I guess good on them for making it good enough that I thought it was just like a scrub player who didn't know what they were doing, but no, that is a fully fledged NPC right there who blocked a couple attacks and randomly swam around and then just started walking. Like the NPC work needs a lot of work. They are very dumb, but there you go. I solved the puzzle of the dungeon and I got some coins for it. I do like the idea of the coins you can use to upgrade your gear. You can find like random shrines that give you random perks. I do like the getting the rupees to do that. And you can see I got the magic spear here, and you'll watch as I kick some major butt with it a little bit later. But going back to like the original issue of not enough players, that's kind of what these live or die by, right? Like when you get taken out, and I will get taken out, the whole thing is that you like, okay, oh man, I lost. I'm going to jump into another match as fast as possible, get right back into the action and try again. But having a 10-minute wait in between getting taken out and getting to play again means that the gameplay loop is not very satisfying, especially if you lose, because it's just like, okay, I guess I will wait here for 10 minutes, go make a coffee, and hope that maybe I can play again at some point. I'm also not sure if the customization is actually going to be as much as they hope it is. Like, there is some different items you can wear if you play in early access. You can get like the title. I have a little title equipped that you get for playing early, the early bird, and then you can get like a scarf and some gloves and stuff. But with this cutesy art style, I don't really see them getting a whole lot of ability to sell you on cosmetics. And if they're going to release this game for free, then obviously they're going to need to make a lot of money off of cosmetics. And I just don't see this art style lending itself to a lot of different cosmetics. You know, things like Call of Duty and stuff sell a ton of different skins because people love the glowing skins and like the super edgy ones. And you've got like the Nicki Minaj, and like people love all those different things. I don't think any of that will really work in this art style. So I don't know how they're going to sell skins with the way this looks. So there's a few different like high fantasy things I think that could work. I just don't know that people are going to be tempted to buy skins when the game looks like this. So after playing this for an hour, because that's about how long I played in the playtest, I just kind of felt like there's no reason to keep playing. Like, I experienced the map, I experienced the weapons, but I don't want to wait 10 minutes to get back in and experience it again, where I'm just going to be running around a giant open map, collecting things, hoping that maybe I'll run into someone to use them against at some point. And I don't know what they can do to fix that outside of having more players, which I know they don't have a huge amount of control over, and of course shrinking down the map. And here's where I got my butt kicked, and as you can see, this person, they definitely kicked my butt. They definitely outskilled me. I will say that there is some learning, but it seems like all they're doing is just spamming the quick attack. They're using none of the charge attacks, they're using none of the other abilities. It's simply who can spam their spear the best, and that just does not feel good. Now, as of finishing this video, the playtest will most likely be over, as it's only going until January 11th. The game is going to launch on both Steam and Xbox. They don't have a set release date yet, they just say 2026, which obviously there's a whole lot of the year left, so we don't know when that will be, but my guess is that we will get another playtest at some point. And if you're interested in this game, even after all that I've said here, I highly recommend you get into that playtest so you can give it a shot yourself. You know, not every game is made for every person, so obviously there's a chance that you'll play it and you'll fall in absolute love with it. And as I said at the very start of the video, I want the game to succeed. Like, there's some good elements here. I like the way that it looks. I like the idea of it. Just in execution, it hasn't been a fun experience, and I just haven't felt a need to go back and play it again, where after a playtest, if it's a successful playtest, what you want is your players like, oh, I can't wait for the next playtest, right? I want to jump right back in and keep playing, and I just don't get that feeling here. You can see that person who's chasing me down here, who ultimately will destroy me. They have spent a lot of time upgrading my gear, so they've been running around the map. They've got like 6 armor, I've only got 4. They've got an upgraded spear, they've got a bigger shield than me. Like they've clearly spent their time super upgrading all their gear, which is the whole point of it, right? That is why you're running around the map, is to get all the upgraded stuff as much as possible, but I just didn't see a point in spending my time doing all that. I will say one last thing about the music design. Like the music, the background music, it's nice, it sounds good. I do enjoy the music in the game, and like the sound effects sound like you'd expect them to. There's a lot of the Legend of Zelda like ha ha, and then of course like playing the flute, you get the flute sound. So there is some great sound design on the game, and I do appreciate that. And again, that's why I want the game to succeed, because there's some elements here. I think with some tweaking, we might have a good game somewhere in here. Just as of right now, I think they need some more time to cook, which again, that is the point of early access, right? They need a little bit more time to polish this up, but we'll see. If more people don't end up playing, then there's nothing they can do about that. Again, that these games live or die by more people playing the game, and there's just not enough people to sustain a player base, then that's just kind of the end. As always, I appreciate y'all watching. If you played in the playtest, tell me what you thought about the game. Tell me your experiences with it. You know, again, this game, maybe it wasn't made for me. Maybe it's made for someone else and someone else enjoyed it. So I'd love to hear from some other people who maybe played in the playtest and what they thought of the game. And as always, have a blessed day.